So I kind of want to react to this today. We talked about this a little bit last night of reports of, potentially us moving on from Brad Robbins. So I want to hear from our special teams coordinator and see what he has to say about the whole situation with potentially moving on from Brad Robbins.
For sure, there's certainly a lot of room for improvement for sure. He got up to about as rough a start as you could possibly get into. We were playing in the opener in Cleveland. He punts 11 times. It's in the rain, and it's a difficult place to punt in the first place. So I mean, he got off to as bad as historically about the worst.
I will say that first game, and especially because it's also his first game as a rookie, you can punt that first game out. You can throw that first game out, and it doesn't matter. Because again, rookie, as coach said here, it's a bad situation. It's a monsoon game, hard to punt there anyway. It's a mess.
Start you possibly could. I think he evolved some. I certainly think there's still a lot of meat left on the bone for him. If you go back and look statistically where his rookie year was in comparison, like what Kevin Huber's was, it's still better. And so I think I don't want to overreact here. I think.
I will say, to my opinion, and I am a Brad Robbins fan. I am a Brad Robbins truther. I don't think he evolved much. I really don't. It seemed like throughout the year, and there's points where throughout the year he looked worse than in the beginning. Like he went like this. So to say that he got better, I don't agree with that. I don't think he evolved. I think he stayed the same, if not degressed. Now, to his point of Kevin Huber, this is what I've been kind of homing on and really trying to explain when it comes to, giving him more shots and more opportunities, is the fact that, punters and kickers do not start off their careers as rookies and look like the best thing ever. They don't. They take time to progress. They take time to get better. They take time to improve. And that's just a fact of life. They just, it takes time for them to get going. So, as he said, he looked better than Huber, and he did. And Huber, again, ended up being a great punter. Now, here's the thing that I think I have to think about more, and this is something that I'm going to self-improve on here, is that just because the fact that a great punter takes some time to get going, it doesn't mean that if a bad punter is going to eventually turn good, right? And I guess I got to kind of come to reality here because I'm being a stand for Brad Robbins here. But at the end of the day, it's like, yes, some punters who are bad become good, but there's a lot of bad punters who just stay bad. So, I don't know. Just kind of like self-reflection right there.
I think that's part of my job is to help develop him and make him better. And so I think he can do that. I think he has the right mindset. He's very open to him, things that we bring up and techniques we might want to change a little bit to help that production. But it's certainly an area we got to get better at quick.
Yeah, I'll say it like this, right? I think what's really important here is, as he said, we got to get better at this quick. We do. Because this is a make or break in any game. If you have a bad punt, especially a close game versus a really good team, or let alone a playoff game where, you're in the key, most critical situation possible, a bad punt can decide how a game ends. A bad punt can decide whether or not a team gets a game-winning field goal or not. And that's just a fact of life and the fact of, football. Is field position is 90% of any NFL game. When NFL games, you look at every single game, if you have great field position throughout the whole entire game, you're always almost in field goal range. You always have chance to score. You have red zone opportunity. That's what really controls games. Time possession and the field battle, right? The back and forth. And punters are the guys who kind of counter that. They are the anchor to that whole perspective. So, while yes, we have to improve, it's not like we have to improve over time. We need to improve. Like, there's no over time. No. It needs to happen. Now, you have one of two choices. One choice is, you know what? We have faith in Brad Robbins. He's our guy. He's going to be good. We know he's going to be good, and we know he's going to get better. Or option 2 is we're going elsewhere, and we're going to try to restart. Because I don't really feel like, especially the punter position, usually you don't have 2 punters on your roster. It's either one, and that's it. So if you're going to, in theory here, say, well, we're going to try to assess and we're going to try to improve, it's either you think he's the guy or he's not the guy. Because especially nowadays in this time and day and age, you don't have time to sit there and wait. Because Super Bowl windows, they're only so long. Players' contracts, they're only so long. You can't lose a game, or let alone a playoff game, because of a bad punt. You can't. You got to get someone who can get the job done.
For him? Yeah, I would like to think that. Yeah, I mean, anytime you have competition, there, I think it brings out the best. That's the little cliche thing, but yeah, I would think so.
You've gone down the road with rookie punters now 2 years in a row, kind of. Is there something to be said for a veteran presence in that competition that's more of a known quantity rather than another developmental league?
Well, I think that it depends. There's a lot of factors that go into that too. There's a salary cap that we have to deal with, and sometimes we don't. In other years, we haven't had as much room to do that, and or you have a potential for some savings there by going with the younger route if they have a chance to develop. I mean, it's easy to always say, yeah, there's a veteran player that's available, and that's easy for me to say too, but sometimes that's not always feasible for our team. What's best.
And to his point, this is why Townsend, the Chiefs punter, got cut from the Chiefs, was because they said, hey, listen, Townsend's going to cost us $2-3 million, but we could go get Matt Ariza for $950,000, and that's more plausible for our salary cap. So Coach is right here that, at the end of the day, you also got to look at money. Brad Robbins is a 5th-round draft pick. He's not costing us anything. Anything. You go out there and get Tommy Townsend, he's going to want a 1-year, $5 million deal. Is he worth $5 million? Right? He's going to want a fully guaranteed 1 year, so he can't just get cut right away. So now you have to bring a veteran in who's okay with going to a competition battle. Townsend's not going to be looking to be a competition battle. I promise you that. Townsend has proved himself in the NFL that he can play at a very high level, which means whoever he signs with, he wants to sign and be guaranteed the starter. So if you go Townsend, it's why I said, you bring in a veteran, you are bringing a veteran in and you are kicking Brad Robbins out. There is no if and buts here because it's a punter. There's only one guy who does the job. And no veteran's going to come in and say, yeah, I'll do a competition battle, unless the veteran's not that good and not getting many offers, and they're just coming in just to see what they can do, right? That's the whole point. You're not going to bring a veteran in to say, okay, well, let's see, if you could be the starter. No, a veteran's going to say, listen, if you're good enough veteran, you're going to say, listen, I'm a good enough player to play in this NFL as a starter. If you don't want me as a starter, I'm not going to sit here and compete with somebody because I can go get more money elsewhere and walk out this door. So if you bring a veteran in, you're kicking Brad Robbins out. That's just how it works. And even if you're like, well, what if a veteran does do that? Well, a veteran goes out there and he outperforms a second-year guy who hasn't, or well, technically still a rookie in OTAs and training camp. What do you think the fans are going to say? How do you think the fans are going to react when we watch this veteran kick the ball and punt the ball to the 2-yard line every single time, and Brad Robbins punts the ball 30 yards? That's not even fair. That's not even fair to look at. I mean, you're just wasting time at that point doing a competition. Do you want to go veteran? Go veteran. But don't sit here and try to do a competition because it's not going to work. It's really not going to work. You're going to make Brad Robbins look like a nothing burger. My cup of tea.
Best for our team. So, I don't know if that's where we're going to put some of our free agent or salary cap capital into a veteran player that way. I don't know if that's out of the mix by any stretch of the imagination. There's some guys out there who are potentially going to be available that are very interesting that could certainly help us. I think it's just got to be an organizational decision on where we want to move that money to.
Yeah. Again, you have a option slash a chance or it's a decision to make. That's a very critical decision for the future of this team. Do you have faith in Brad Robbins, or are you going to go elsewhere and go with a veteran? That's the two options. It's a one or two. It's A or B. It's not really much of a difference there, right? Because at the end of the day, those are your two options. You could bring in a veteran who, see, this is the problem. If you bring in a veteran, like I said before, who is more of a, he's a veteran, but, you know, he'll do a competition with Brad Robbins, what it means is he's probably not that good. And if you bring a veteran who is not that good, and you compare him versus a rookie, Brad Robbins might be better. He just might not have the best camp. It might not look better than this, you know, somewhat of a good veteran. And if you go to the season, that good veteran might look like crap. And reason why he was on free agency and not that good. So it's a slippery slope. It really is. So that's why when everyone says, like, let's cut Brad Robbins, it's like, the only way you're cutting Brad Robbins or moving on from Brad Robbins is if you have a better choice lined up. And what if it doesn't work? It's bad. But if you believe in Brad Robbins that he'll improve, you got to improve. But at the end of the day, you got to make a decision because this is the future of this football team. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.